right? Like, I'm not going to make magical claims about flying saviors who are literally going to come down from where is heaven exactly, given that we have, multiple telescopes up there, beaming back, tens of billions of years worth of information. Um, I'm amazed at the number of people who will bite the bullet on the core doctrine and say, yeah, I think Jesus is going to come back and raise the dead.
Okay, so telescopes exist, and we have data from telescopes. So then, no heaven. So what are your thoughts as a Christian? Is this sort of game over for Christianity, or what's going on here?
Well, to be frank with you, this is perhaps the most entirely naive way that you can understand what's going on here. This is like, oh, I beat the 5-year-old's theology. Let me pat myself on the back for it. There's not much deep thought going on. There's not much looking into any sort of thing that's going on in the tradition or whatnot. As
It's
far
not
as,
very charitable.
well, I mean, that's typical of your Sam Harris type people. So actually, before we answer this question, I think it's really important to ask, um, as a Christian, how should you approach somebody like this? Um, and in my view, it's they're the equivalent of science deniers in a particular way. They're not interested in actually engaging with the kind of nuanced reasoning that has gone into the a very rich intellectual tradition. They're not actually interested in engaging academically or deeply with the subject matter. Uh, they're here to try to make things sound like a farce without having to work very hard. So when you think about engaging these kinds of objections, I think the thing um, that you ought to do is think about what your goal is. Are you trying to come to a deeper understanding yourself, or are you trying to um, say to the other person, "Hey, I got you"? And look, as Christians, our God is truth, capital T, right? So our ultimate goal should always be to uncover the truth. We should be academically respectful. We should try to understand the world in a deep and nuanced way. Um, so the "I got you" kind of attitude is not the right one to go with. It's going to lead us to missing potential errors in our own views, but also it's going to take us down various rabbit trails uh, where we're chasing after something that we're not going to get for somebody who's inherently not interested in engaging academically or intellectually with a subject like this. So that said, I, I said that I think this is the most naive interpretation that you could possibly offer. Uh, I've jokingly called it the rocket ship Jesus interpretation of the ascension. And first of all, I don't think that that's going to fit with the way that the ancient world would have seen it. And second of all, who cares about that? We're not trying to buy into their science. We're trying to figure out, theologically how things would best work out. So we know that it says in the text that he was taken up and then disappeared into a cloud. Does that mean that he just keeps on rocketing off in the sky? No, I don't think so. And I think that there's a lot of good reasons to think this. In particular, there's a type of objection that is theologically rich that I like to give to these types of views, which is that I call it the objection from technological Pelagianism. Now, a central commitment that Christians have about heaven and the nature of heaven is it's not the kind of thing that we can gain entry to or access to by our own means whatsoever. And that includes, taking a spaceship or looking through the Hubble telescope or something like that. So there's something already deeply off, theologically speaking, about the kind of interpretation that Harris is offering. where it's somebody magically flying back down from heaven or whatever. So that's a good starting place. Now, there's a bunch of different, more nuanced ways of approaching the issue of the ascension on offer. And sorry, let me back up one more step, just to make clear that I think he's missing something important. Think about Alicia. He's there with, I need to look at the passage, but he's there with somebody on a hill, and there's a whole army coming in, and they're like, we're not going to win, we're outnumbered. And he's like, look around you. And God lifts the veil from the eyes of the other person, and they see this whole army of angels around them. And there's a sense in which the attitude is that this heavenly world is happening metaphorically right next to ours. It's not something where you go travel to the top of a mountain like Olympus or something like that. The spiritual world completely permeates the physical world in the traditional way of thinking about it.
Hello, Cameron here. Thanks for watching this little clip. If you want more, there's actually a whole interview this clip came from. Just click the link on the screen. Oh, and by the way, we post 2 to 3 new videos a week. So if you're interested in apologetics at all, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can catch our latest content. Oh, and then lastly, remember that Christianity is true.